Now, I think that happy wife, happy life is the most toxic advice or joke that you could ever give to anyone, or you could ever accept as a man. Because I've heard this saying many times before, and I know it's meant to be a joke, and it rhymes, it's beautiful, it's like motivating for most women. But to be honest, I find it really annoying and cringe-worthy. I know it's all about context, but I see a defeated man whenever I hear the saying. To be honest, a man who bases his happiness around his woman's mood sounds weak to me. To me, it implies that a woman can get away with anything in the relationship or in the marriage. She can behave overtly emotional, irrational, manipulative, and entitled, and her man just puts up with it. He should always be the rescuer and pathologically give to her. He should bend to every whim, because if she isn't satisfied, there is no happiness in that marriage or in that house or in that relationship. How is it fair, honestly? I am a woman. I should be happy about that. But for a woman who loves her freedom, I wouldn't want a man to be caged in trying to make me feel happy, even when he's not happy. So I think it is not a fair play. For one, your happiness is not solely dependent on your man and how he makes you feel, because that is too much you're asking from a human being who also needs to be loved, who also has his own problem. This doesn't sound like a healthy relationship. If anything, it sounds exploitive and even abusive. So if the shoes were to be on the other foot and people say, oh, happy husband, happy life, that would be outrage. And of course, we find cases of women even getting annoyed over the fact that, oh, magazines or relationship columnists or relationship experts, keep telling them how to make their man or their husbands happy without considering their own feelings and their own wants. If a man cheats, oh, it is the woman's fault because she lets herself go. She isn't taking care of her body. Don't we all get angry at talks like that as women? So now, why do we bask in this selfish phrase? See, marriage is partnership. That's how it works. And that's a fact. And I truly believe that the happy wife, happy life saying undermines the important fact that marriage is a partnership. Because both partners should have equal accountability and responsibility in the relationship. Both partners should feel like they can voice their opinions and influence one another. And both partners should share power and privilege. You should have mutual respect for each other. First as a couple, and then as a separate entity, as an individual. Of course, you should want to make your spouse happy, but your self-worth, your life, your happiness shouldn't revolve around that phrase or entirely on your spouse. It should not. That's wickedness for you to base your happiness off your husband or off your wife. And this leads me into the subservient husband. The truth is, most women don't respect men who say yes to everything. It's not just a marriage issue. This is a thing that just goes with every human relationship. If I had a man who says yes to my every beating, I would take advantage of him, to be honest. Because I do have a strong personality. So if he says yes to all of my beatings, good or bad, I would take advantage of him. Sure, it's nice when your husband does nice things for you, but if he always says yes without ever questioning or challenging you, you will end up walking all over him because he has no boundaries and no backbone. Plus, wouldn't it be better if your husband had a mission of his own instead of being caught up in always pleasing you? Let's not be selfish. Let's stop these things, honestly. Let's stop these sayings. I know some men can be douchebags, but give them some level of freedom. It shreds every ounce of manhood from this man when you say those things. These men are going through so much out there. Allow them some level of freedom to be themselves again. He doesn't always have to spend the whole day with you during the weekend. Let him go out and have fun with his boys without thinking, you're going to be upset, or without you thinking that he's up to no good. Look, a good way for you to see if the relationship is unbalanced or has any underlying issue is to self-reflect. So if you catch yourself feeling the need to control or manipulate your husband into doing something your way, then you need to pause for a second and ask yourself, why? Why do I always want to control my husband? Why do I always want to manipulate him? And in case you haven't realized that you have been controlling your husband, I mean, there are some signs or there are some ways in which women control their husband's behavior. One, you constantly are checking up on him, always telling him how to do things and everything. You're always dictating who he can and can't spend time with. You always find yourself crying and being overtly emotional just to trigger that damsel in distress response. So please grab a pen and paper and ask yourself why you feel the need to do these things and see what comes up. I think journaling is a great way to get to the bottom of what's going on internally and in your relationship. So if you catch yourself feeling the need to control your husband, you need to pause and ask yourself why. Because people are often unaware of where their anger and frustration stems from. And over time, it can just manifest into bitterness and resentment. So it's essential to slow down and give yourself the space to focus inward from time to time to figure out what the trigger is. For example, if you're constantly telling your husband what to do, ask yourself, is he a child who needs to be told what and what not to do? Or is it something going on inside of you? How does that make you feel? If you feel frustrated or angry, why do you feel like that? Are you tired or are you hungry? Do you wish he would be more of a man, or you still are annoyed about the time he overstepped your boundaries and now it's manifesting as a passive-aggressive behavior in you? Do you need to resolve these issues with him by communicating openly and honestly? So if things are really bad and you find that you can't get through your husband, it really might be that time to ask for help. It might be that time to even talk with him. So here's my take on this whole happy wife, happy life shenanigans. I think that it should be more than just a slogan on any t-shirt. Marriage is about a healthy balance between yourself and your husband, where you both work to meet each other's needs. Both of you must be happy, loved, and equally served to have a happy life together. So this phrase is selfish to me, and it's one-sided. It's borderline emasculating. That's just my take. But if you disagree, then you could just send me a message in the comment section, and then I would figure out why you think it's quite absurd for me to think this way, okay? Until I come your way, do keep remembering that I love you. And don't you forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell to get notified whenever I post a video here. And don't you forget to share with your friends and families. I love you big time. Until I come your way again with another exciting episode, I do care. Mwah.